After everyone in Midwich passes out, all of the women who are old enough to have children wake up pregnant. Detective Chief Inspector Paul is sent to look into the case, but when he gets home to Midwich, he finds his pregnant wife Deborah dead. Susanna, the psychiatrist, is also in charge of helping the mothers keep the strange thing a secret. Even though the situation is strange, all women, including Susanna's daughter Cassie, are strangely forced to keep their pregnancies. Zoe, one of the women, wants to leave town because of the stress of her unexpected pregnancy, but a strange force keeps her from getting on the train. In the end, all the mothers give birth at the same time, and for the next 2 years, there is peace in Midwich. Zoe goes for a run one morning while her daughter Hannah and the government keep an eye on things. Hannah then sees their neighbor's son, Joe, and the two of them make contact with Sonny, another child in London, who tells them she's coming. Paul plays hide-and-seek with his sister-in-law Jody and her son Nathan, who have just moved into his house. During this, he sees Deborah in his mind. The kids will be old enough to start school in just 2 years. Sam, Zoe's partner, runs the school orientations, while Bryony, a home office worker, watches the kids. Susanna also shows up with Cassie and Evie, who is Cassie's daughter. In the meantime, Amrita goes to the home of Stuart, her ex-lover who she was with on the day of the blackout. Before Stuart leaves, she sees his daughter Charlotte. Amrita then says that Sunny, her daughter, made her come. Zoe thanks Susanna at school for helping her deal with how she felt about her first pregnancy. Zoe, on the other hand, notices that Cassie is very good at being a mom. The lights suddenly flicker all over the place, just like they did during the blackout. The kids line up with their backs to the window, and the security feed breaks down. When the kids go outside, they see Charlotte and Sunny going for a walk. Sarah, Stuart's wife, goes up to her daughter and asks what's going on. Her daughter tells Sarah that Sunny's mother is talking to her father in private. A dog barks at the kids as they put Sunny's school uniform on. The dog suddenly gets away and growls at the kids, but when they look down at it, it whimpers. While Paul tells Bryony what happened, Zoe takes Hannah away, even though the kids are looking at her in a scary way. When Sunny shows up out of the blue, Susanna goes to see Amrita to confirm that she was with Stuart during the blackout while Stuart's wife was away. This makes their relationship public. At the office, Bryony and Paul find out that Amrita worked on Stuart's campaign. They decide not to let her leave because she also got pregnant during the blackout. Zoe asks Hannah at home how she knew Sunny. The girl says they've always known her. Her mother is shocked by this. Susanna finds out that Stuart sent money to Amrita while she was raising Sunny by herself. Susanna thinks that Sunny is also a child of the blackout instead of Stuart's because she grows up faster than the other kids. During this time, Cassie is outside with Sunny and Evie. When she takes their picture, a plane in the sky scares the girls. Paul shows up and asks Amrita to stay in Midwich so that they can test Sunny. She says no, but Sunny wants to stay and meet the other kids, so she starts listing their names, which scares the adults. Susanna does an experiment in Ward 300, a secure hospital area, to find out more about this phenomenon. She tells one of the kids to pick a picture that the others have to guess. In every test, the kids show that they can figure out what each other is thinking. The mothers talk about Amrita and Stuart when they are outside. When Zoe sees Amrita in another room, she goes outside to get some fresh air. Even though it's not allowed, Zoe sneaks in to talk to her. The two moms get along right away, and Amrita tells Sunny that she has a spell on her. Zoe tells her that they are paid to stay at Midwich and are cut off from the rest of the world. When Amrita hears this, she says that a doctor also came to see her and spent an hour talking to Sunny. Zoe and Amrita trade phone numbers because they can't talk for long. Zoe tells her before she leaves to leave while she can. On the way out, she overhears Susanna suspecting that the children have a hive mind. When the moms take their kids with them, Susanna stays behind to watch over Amrita. Cassie wants to know what her mother is hiding, so Susanna gives her the hint that the kids are talking to each other behind her back. Later, Zoe and Hannah are walking when the girl laughs at a dead dog that was found in the creek. Since it's the same dog from school, Zoe is wary of her daughter. In the meantime, what Cassie found out bothers her, so she talks to Evie about it. Her daughter casually confirms that she can hear her friend's thoughts, but she was sorry that this might scare her mother. Cassie hugs her daughter and tells her not to be afraid of her. Cassie, on the other hand, doesn't notice that Evie was drawing a dead dog. While Paul watches Nathan perform before, Bryony makes fun of him for liking the boy and his mother. Then, Bryony sees the earlier video from Amrita's room, which shows how she talked to Zoe. Sam and Zoe fight about how Hannah reacted to the dead dog at their house. Sam thinks the dog died in an accident, but his partner brings up the fact that Susanna thinks the kids have a hive mind, which scares her. When Hannah comes in, Zoe goes out. The girl then gives Sam a hug and says that her mother no longer loves her. Sam tries to convince her otherwise, but she puts him in a trance and says that only he loves her. Paul isn't near when he gets home. Jody tells her son to play hide and seek with his friends because she thinks something is wrong, but Nathan says that his friends can't play the game. Nathan tells Paul to say what he knows to prove his point. Curtis, Sam's next door neighbor, talks about Amrita and says he doesn't understand why the government didn't find Sonny sooner. Curtis tells Sam that he is only using Joe, his wife's blackout son, to get money from the government. When Sam talks about the other children, the only son Curtis considers is his biological kid, David. Zoe calls Hannah from the kitchen, but the girl quickly says that they didn't hurt the dog. Zoe loses control of her body all of a sudden and puts her hand over the hot water. Once Hannah's mother is hurt, she lets her go and says more firmly that they didn't hurt the dog. Hannah acts confused when Sam comes home, but Zoe knows that her daughter is up to no good. During this time, Susanna drives Amrita to their hotel and asks her to give the project a chance. Inside, they find Sarah waiting for them, so Susanna gets Sonny a drink so the women can talk. She asks Sonny how long she's known the other kids. Sonny says she's known them all her life, but she's only decided to go back to Midwich now. Sonny leaves when Susanna walks in on Amrita and Sarah having a heated argument. Amrita goes to find her, but Susanna sees the girl standing next to Sarah and asking for a hug. As Sonny says mommy to the woman, lights in the ceiling flicker. Amrita sees this, gets mad, and takes Sonny away. At Paul's home, Jody asks when he'll reveal what he knows about the kids. When he doesn't share, she tells him she'll leave. She tells him that she knows he cares about Nathan, but if he doesn't trust her, they shouldn't stay there. She thinks that he wouldn't have kept anything from Deborah, which starts an argument that doesn't end until Nathan shows up. He calls Paul his dad, which is a surprise to both of them. Susanna arrives home and finds her family playing with Cassie's friend, Nora, and Bash, her daughter, Olive. Cassie goes up to Susanna when she sees her and tells her that the kids' abilities don't have to be a dirty secret. After that, Zoe sends Susanna a text message asking her to come over. Amrita packs their bags quietly at the hotel while Sonny sleeps. The rest of the kids also go to bed around midnight. After she's done, she wakes Sonny up so they can go home. Even though Sonny doesn't want Amrita to take her, she does. This wakes up all the other children. Zoe talks about what happened earlier in Susanna's office. She breaks down when she says that Hannah wanted to hurt her because she sees her as a threat. Zoe sees that everything has changed because of Sonny and admits that she doesn't trust the kids. Susanna tries to calm her thoughts, but it sounds like she doesn't believe them. As Zoe leaves, she tells Susanna she won't understand until she sees it herself. Amrita, on the other hand, is walking through the parking lot when the lights start to flicker. Still, she leaves a voicemail for Zoe, telling her that she's leaving. Children all over Midwich stand still as static crackles in the air. Susanna and Paul notice this. Amrita tells her daughter to get in the car as they reach it. Suddenly, the car alarms go off and Sonny's eyes light up. Zoe goes home and runs into Bryony, who knows she went into the restricted area without permission. She asks if there's anything the government should know, and when Zoe hesitates, Bryony reminds her about Amrita's delicate situation. After the officer leaves, Sam questions why Zoe didn't tell him about her meeting with Amrita. She says, though, that he didn't want to know anyway. Later, when Charlotte wakes up, Sonny is outside. Soon, Susanna gets to their house and finds out that Amrita dropped off Sonny and left. Susanna decides to take Amrita because no one can get in touch with her, but Sonny is adamant about staying with Sarah. Paul calls Susanna right then. When they get to the hotel parking lot, Amrita's car is still open, and her shoe is still inside. Zoe listens to Amrita's voicemail in the meantime. Then, she looks into Hannah's room and sees that her daughter is awake and trying to wake her up. A few days after that, Sonny joins the other kids at school. In the meantime, Paul listens to the recording of Sonny saying that Amrita left her. They also find that the security cameras in the parking lot of the hotel were broken for 6 hours and that there is no sign of Amrita. Even Sonny's ride to Sarah's house was not caught on camera. Bryony tells Paul to keep this a secret so that it doesn't raise suspicions. During this time, Susanna tells the mothers about their theory about the hive mind, which makes them react in different ways. Cassie tries to get them to see it as a step forward in evolution, telling them that if the children work as one, so should the mothers. Curtis's wife, Rachel, tells him that he hates her son, Joe, when he asks for help. Sarah says that Sonny now thinks of her as her mother, which makes things even stranger. Susanna praises Cassie's calmness at the end of the session, even though she is still upset about Amrita's disappearance. But Cassie thinks Amrita left her daughter behind. Susanna also notices that Zoe wasn't there. That night, Zoe finds Hannah sleeping next to Sam and complaining that she's had nightmares every night since Sonny came. When Sam asks about the meeting, Zoe claims that she forgot to attend. He says it might help, but Zoe says she's not like the other moms and doesn't need it. Jody asks Paul about Amrita when he gets home. He changes the subject by asking her if she is already looking for a place. He feels weak when she says no, so he asks her to stay. In another place, Susanna sees that Evie is having a bad dream, so she puts her hand on her head. She sees a winter scene and a hand on the door all of a sudden. She is shocked by what she sees. The next day, Paul looks at the footage from the hotel parking lot before and after the glitch. He notices that the vans near Amrita's car were different after the glitch. After a hotel receptionist tells him where the missing van came from, he drives to the warehouse and finds that the vehicle is broken. Susanna is going through Evie's things when she finds one of her drawings with Amrita on it. At the same time, Paul looks inside the car and finds Amrita's frozen body. When he tells Bryony and him about it later, they are both confused about how the van stayed so cold even though the wiring was shorted and Amrita was trapped inside. Bernard, their boss, tells them to make up a story, but Paul says he can't ignore the death of a mother. But Bernard says that they've been getting along with the families for 2 years and can't risk ruining that over one small thing. Nathan and Joe play on the swings at school while they wait for their dads. When Curtis comes, he tells Joe to get off the swing so that David can play. Nathan and Joe use the swing to hit Curtis and throw David hard when they are angry. Susanna goes to see Zoe to continue what they were talking about before, but Zoe says no because Hannah was sleeping in their bed and she didn't get enough rest. Susanna asks Hannah if she's had nightmares when she comes over, but Hannah says she hasn't. Curtis suddenly shows up with a bloody David and blames Joe, even though Sam says it was an accident. Susanna goes up to Joe and asks to talk to him about it, but Curtis says he wants to handle it on his own. That night, Zoe plays Amrita's voicemail for Sam and thinks it's strange that she would leave Sonny behind when she wanted to leave with her daughter. Then Hannah comes back to sleep in their bed, but Zoe kicks her out because she lied about having bad dreams. After Zoe puts her to bed, Hannah comes after her and uses her mind to hit her mother's head against the wall. Sam comes out, but he doesn't believe his partner when he says Hannah hurt herself because of him. Sam tells Zoe in private that they agreed to have a child because she had never been able to get pregnant before. Zoe tells Hannah, though, that she doesn't love her. Sam is shocked by this, so he goes away. Cassie tells her mother the next morning that Evie had another bad dream. When she leaves, Susanna goes to touch Evie's forehead, but her hand freezes and she has to pull away. Sam also finds out that Curtis is punishing Joe by not letting him go to school. Hannah scuffs Curtis' car when she hears this, so he yells at her. Zoe rushes to the train station and worries that she won't be able to get on, like when she was pregnant. When she makes it inside, she feels a deep sense of relief. Later, Susanna tells Sam that she wants a psych report about what happened on the swing. Even though the kids are sleeping, she keeps trying to wake Nathan up. Susanna asks Nathan in private if he hurt David because Curtis made him mad. Even though the kid doesn't answer, the lights around them start to flicker. She changes her question and asks if he'd hurt her if she made him mad. Nathan says he doesn't want to hurt her. Then Susanna asks about Amrita and the kid's bad dreams. Nathan breaks down and says that Amrita is to blame for everything. When Susanna asks for more information, the others wake up and beat on the window in anger while Nathan screams. Sam runs inside, and Nathan blames Susanna while the other kids point at her. Zoe arrives in London and leaves a message for Amrita on her voicemail. She then sees an old friend, Jamie, and breaks down, telling him that she's going crazy and that Hannah isn't her child. As Paul and Bryony question Susanna about what happened with Nathan, she tells them about the recurring dream the kids have had since Sonny came to live with them. The kids might be acting strangely because they're scared of something, which might have to do with Amrita. Susanna can tell from their silence that they are hiding something, but Bryony brings up the fact that the psychiatrist used to often think that children had bad intentions. Susanna gets angry, but when Bryony asks if Cassie knows about her past, she stops talking. Zoe tells Jamie everything, but she asks him to keep it a secret. When he saw how upset she was, he hugged her, and then they kissed. All of a sudden, Zoe gets a bad feeling and realizes that the kids want Sam, so they let her go. Zoe leaves Jamie behind, and Bernard watches her from afar. Cassie talks to Susanna about what happened at school because Evie came home crying, which made Susanna have to cancel her plans and stay home. Susanna, who feels guilty, tells her to go while she takes care of Evie. Sam is at home, talking on the phone to Zoe, when Hannah comes in and stares at him. She asks him why he let Curtis yell at her, which makes Sam go outside and march up to the neighbor. Sam tells Curtis to take back what he said about Hannah not being his child. Curtis, on the other hand, hits him until his fists stop moving. Hannah watches. This gives Sam the upper hand again. Sam stands up, covered in blood, and looks at Hannah, who is smirking. Curtis is on the ground. Paul goes home, where Jody confronts him about how Susanna scared Nathan. She thinks he is lying about something, so she asks him what he is lying about. He doesn't care about her and goes upstairs to find Nathan. He locks the door and asks Nathan what happened to Amrita, adding that if the boy loves him, he'll tell the truth. He's glad to hear that the kids didn't do anything, but Nathan's face is blank when he hugs him. At Susanna's house, Evie invites her grandmother for a walk, promising to tell her about their dreams. Evie asks to play hide and seek as they walk through the woods before she tells them about her dreams. Susanna gives in, so the girl runs away. But when Susanna goes to the place where she last saw Evie, she's not there. Nathan also tells Paul that Evie is worried that her grandmother will hurt her. In a hurry, Paul drives to their house and finds Cassie, who tells him that Susanna and Evie went for a walk. Susanna looks for the boy in the woods while whispers of accusations go through her mind. In the forest, Evie teases her and leads her to the train tracks. Evie says that she wants the children to die when Susanna finds her. Evie runs into the tracks right when a train comes, so Susanna has to go after her. Evie runs to Paul and Cassie, telling them that Susanna tried to hurt her. Cassie gets mad and says that Paul told her what happened at school, so she decides that it's not safe to live with her mother. Zoe soon gets home, where she finds Sam hurt. He tells Hannah that she made him fight Curtis, and now he wants to get away. Zoe tells him that they will leave together. Later, Susanna sees Cassie, Bryony, and Paul leave with Paul. When Paul goes home, he tells Jody he's sorry and gives her a kiss. As the small peace in their town finally falls apart, Susanna sits at the bottom of the stairs, feeling hopeless.